Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Petovich here. We've got to talk about the risk for some strong, maybe even some severe storms coming up on Thursday. Kind of a complex system heading our way. You don't normally think about this in January, but that's what we're talking about today. And where's that system coming from? Well, it's actually part of that big storm that impacted part of California. That system right now, you can see it moving through the Rockies. It's going to eject into the plains today, and it's going to form a pretty significant low pressure system that eventually is going to head to the Carolinas by late Thursday afternoon. So I'm going to quickly show you where we have the severe weather risk today and how this is going to kind of unfold. This is the day one severe weather outlook. You can see that little area of yellow doesn't look like a whole lot. Let me turn the satellite off here. We'll kind of make it all easier to see. Turn off all the satellite data. So there we go. You see that area of yellow across the basically northeast Arkansas, southern Missouri, the Boot Heel, and to western Kentucky and Tennessee. And this is as this energy and this warm front begins to lift. So we're watching this area right here as it begins to shift to the east. We'll see what happens as it goes east, and I'll show you how that severe weather threat could expand into the Carolinas. So there's that severe weather risk today. Let's go to day two, which is tomorrow, and you'll see this large area of yellow and orange. And notice how most of the western Carolinas are in the yellow, but we've got this little area of orange, which is the medium risk for severe storms tomorrow. As we go to day three, which will be going into Friday, that threat goes away. So let's focus on Thursday, the time frame here. That's the overall risk for severe storms. Here's the risk of tornadoes. You can see 2%, not off the charts, but there's a 2% probability in green for tornadoes tomorrow. Probability of hail, less than 2%. Probability of wind, this is where we get the heightened. So we've got a 10 and 15% probability. So wind is our biggest issue, but as you see, tornado cannot be ruled out. So let's show you how this thing unfolds as it shifts to the east slowly tomorrow with our Futurecast. All right, let's get right to the Futurecast. We start at 10 a.m. this morning. We'll have probably a few areas of drizzle and clouds, but as we get into tonight, we're going to see the system begin to take shape back to the west. Big storm system over the middle of the country starts to really crank up. And the key part here is how much warm, humid air can get pulled up ahead of the system. Because what's going to happen, there's going to be a warm front here moving to the north. There's going to be cold, dry air punching here with the cold front. So pretty good setup. You've got the wind changing direction with height. We call that wind shear, and that's a pretty good setup. So the wind shear, I don't think, is going to be the thing that's lacking. There's going to be boatloads of wind shear. The question is how much warm, humid air or thunderstorm fuel are we going to get ahead of it? So we go through tomorrow morning. This is 7 a.m. We start to see a pretty good line or squall line of storms forming, moving through Alabama into Georgia. Now remember, we'll go back to the severe weather outlook. You see where the outlook is right there, just to overlay where we're expecting that the worst severe weather. So right in there, and then moving into the Carolinas. So we go through time tomorrow afternoon. Most of the day we see just passing showers in the Carolinas, but roughly around 3, 4 in the afternoon, maybe closer to dinner time, the line should probably start entering the mountains. So you see that line of storms entering the mountains. Now these storms ahead of it, always ones you got to watch. Could we get some rogue cells that try to pop up and go severe? Certainly a possibility, but I will keep a close eye on those. I really think it's going to be about the squall line moving through. And you can see moving right across the heart of the Piedmont into the upstate right around 6 p.m. So the timing of this seems to be speeding up a little bit, which puts our area more at risk because the earlier in the day it is, the more hot, humid air there is likely for this thing to build off of. So straight line winds, isolated tornado threats, not zero. It's not super high, but it's there. I got to tell you, 2% probability of a tornado, but again, 10-15% chance of damaging straight line winds. Overall rain chance around 90%. So that kind of breaks down the percentages. You see the line pushing through by 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Then on the backside, this is where the snow lovers get excited for the mountains if you're going skiing, because on the backside of this, the cold air starts spilling in. And the thing you notice for skiers, we get the perfect northwest flow setup because we get snow bands coming off of Lake Michigan, coming down here, picking up moisture. We get lake enhanced snow coming off of Lake Huron and Lake Erie, and even a little bit of Lake Superior. That's a pretty good setup for what we call northwest flow snow. If you're not familiar with that, behind these strong fronts, if there's moisture, the flow of air from the northwest intersects the mountains perpendicular. Remember, the Appalachian Mountains are like this. This flow comes in at a right angle or perpendicular, exactly 90 degrees there. And if there's moisture, the mountains will lift the air and you'll see snow on the west and northwest facing side of the mountains. And that's what I expect starting to happen late tomorrow into early Friday. And this could likely continue all the way into Saturday as that flow will continue to come straight off the Great Lakes. Quickly, let me show you some of the tornado probabilities, just to give you some idea of how much of the ingredients are in place. Some of our friends over at Pivotal Weather, you can see this is the STP, or significant tornado parameter, basically the ingredients for tornadic storms. You can see as we go into Thursday evening, there's a very narrow ribbon. If you look in there, it's about 1.5 on the scale, which goes from 0 here all the way up to 9. So it's the lowest end. It's not off the charts, but it's certainly there. And it gets weaker as it pushes east. So probably more of a threat, I would say, for the upstate of South Carolina, that area that was in the orange outlook or the medium outlook. But as it pushes to the east, I don't see much. Real quickly, I'll show you the updraft helicity tracks, which again, don't necessarily show you where tornadoes are. They show you where there's storms that are likely going to have rotating updrafts, which in general are severe storms. You see the tracks again. There's not a ton, but right in here, you see a couple narrow bands coming up through the upstate. So that's an area in particular that we're going to have to watch tomorrow. I think this area right in here would be an area that we'll watch carefully, because the timing is going to be crucial. Remember, any heating of the day, sunshine, temperatures get in the mid and upper 60s. It starts feeling like that. York County, Chester County, south, you better be on guard, because potentially we could see some strong storms as they move in. Again, we'll keep a close eye on this. Let me quickly pop up the severe weather outlook again. I'll show you the loop here. We'll put the severe weather outlook with the Futurecast, so you get the idea. That area in orange and yellow, that's where we're going to watch for severe storms on Thursday. Of course, we'll have you covered here at WCNC. I'll keep you up to date. We'll probably do a vlog tomorrow morning before I head off to teach class, but we're definitely going to have the potential for some strong storms. Not by spring standards, maybe not off the charts, but for January, certainly something to note, because we typically aren't expecting to see severe weather in the month of January. Have a great Wednesday.